Assalamu alaikum, guys. Thank you so much for being part of the show today. This is the Open-Minded Thinker Show. Well, I am extending this invitation to Mel Gibson for two particular reasons. One of those reasons is that Mel Gibson has distinguished himself as someone who has the fear of God. He might be a conservative Christian, a traditional Catholic, but he also reflects that, rare attribute of understanding and acknowledging the presence and the existence of God among his folks. Because if you go to Hollywood today, you would see that atheistic creativity running deep in the veins of those who create most of the movies that we watch today. But unlike others, this guy called Mel Gibson has produced videos that went as far as motivating or telling the story of the Bible, telling the story from the Christian perspective anyway, but he believed in God, and that has thoroughly influenced the way he approaches issues, the way he makes stories, and the way he approaches issues in Hollywood. Just recently, he went viral again, where he apparently revealed certain secrets in Hollywood.
In a 1998 interview, Mel Gibson made a number of cryptic references to a dark and evil side of Hollywood that he personally encountered.
When I came over here, I was in my mid-20s.
Right.
The first time I really came over here. I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because a whole place can't be like, Weird Town, where the stranger wanders in and all the people are in the bar and they all shut up when he looks at them, and they tell you don't go into the house on the hill, and it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like. Could it? Mm-hmm. And then you find out later on the track that you are exactly on track with a lot of this stuff. Not specifically on track, but that you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real at the time, and you think, a place like this can humiliate you. And it can humiliate you, it can be humbling. I mean, it does rip your life to pieces.
Is it?
If you'll let it.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's reliving his first time in Hollywood. I know that an industry as big as Hollywood would apparently have some secret in it and some weird stuff about it, because it's just everywhere. Just like the Catholic Church, the Vatican, as big as an institution with all the finances, with all the big histories, with all the big guys, in the Vatican, there are myriad of secret that the ordinary mind cannot be actually exposed to. So, I mean, there are a bunch of things you can just say, I want to know about the Vatican, because they are really, really mysterious. So that's the same thing with Hollywood, and I think I am really understanding where he's driving at.
And it's always pounding at the walls.
Yeah.
These little guys, these little heathens with no soul downstairs with horns on their head with a battering ram trying to beat your walls in.
Now, Gibson, of course, since that interview, has met with, shall we say, some unfortunate circumstances. His reputation was soiled after 2006 drunk driving arrest when he made widely publicized anti-Semitic remarks, which have tarnished his reputation among Hollywood insiders ever since. And yet, Gibson appears to have come out from that reputational slander rather undaunted. He was seen of late standing up and saluting President Trump at a recent UFC championship fight, and he's been pictured posing with Kari Lake in Arizona. But now we're getting reports that Gibson is preparing to release a groundbreaking 4-part documentary series that'll shed light on the hidden world of a global child sex trafficking ring. According to Newsweek, this shocking revelation is expected to expose the industry's staggering annual revenue of $34 billion. If you can believe it, that's an amount that surpasses the yearly earnings of the airline industry. Here's 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝗵𝘁 of Operation Underground and one of the leading figures in the global fight against child trafficking.
Ukraine. Got a phone call from Mel Gibson. He actually did the final edit of The Sound of Freedom. That's how we know each other, but not well enough that I'd be getting phone calls. And he told me that he was in Budapest at the time. This was right hours after the invasion. And he said he supports a bunch of orphans in Ukraine and he was worried about them and he asked if I could help get them out. So now I've got 12 from my wife. I got about 13 others from Mel Gibson. And I'm thinking, okay, I got this list of kids I got to get out. I told Mel, I said, you got to help me. This is going to be expensive. I won't ask you for direct donation, but can you help me film this? Let's film what's happening so we can get people to understand and they can support us. He said, no problem. He helped us get set up and started filming. 4 months later, what I thought was going to be maybe a documentary about Ukraine ends up being a 4-part docuseries that's almost done. It's being produced by DNA Films and executive produced by Tony Robbins. That's how crazy it got and how prophetic my wife was. When I showed up in Ukraine with a list of, I think, 20 names, the Ukrainians countered me and gave me over 10,000 names of orphans that they didn't know where they were because of the chaos caused by war. And more importantly, and more frightening to me, was the fact that I know that human trafficking is a $32 billion a year business. It's the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world, and I also know how kids get forced into that market. And it's through vulnerable situations like in the aftermath of a hurricane, mostly in a developed country, or an earthquake, or in this case.
Apparently, this is a very deep revelation. A lot of things happens around Ukraine. Ever since the war started, people tend to forget the corruption, the evil, and some of the misnomerly that was synonymous with Ukraine as a country, and then focused on the Russian invasion, which of course is not good, but we have to revisit what was happening even before the war, because the symptoms of this revelation are the incentive of really what was happening before the invasion. So when the invasion happened, it was an opportunity for some people to, jump into the market and sell some people and, continue the human trafficking and stuff. So they kept listening to this guy.
Hey gang, have you seen the Twitter thread "Died Suddenly" or the new movie by the same name? It really is heartbreaking to see the rise of sudden stroke deaths that seem to occur in lockstep with the tyrannical forced vaccinations of the Biden administration. And now the number of strokes continue to rise. And I'm very concerned. So here's something that I'm doing to protect myself and my family. My friends at Lifeline Screening are helping me detect my risk of having a stroke, and I encourage you to do the same by clicking on the link below. If we're going to defeat liberalism, it's vitally important that we stay healthy for this battle. Your family and your country need you to be at your best. So let me tell you, getting screened today to confirm you're healthy will bring you peace of mind, and screening that results in early detection just might save your life. So don't wait. Protect your legacy today and ensure you're healthy by visiting Lifeline Screening right now. Securing your health is just a click away. Again, that was 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝗵𝘁. He's absolutely amazing. He's a former CIA and DHS special agent, and now he's dedicated his life to rescuing children from human trafficking, which, of course, is happening in Ukraine, as he pointed out, and it's happening more than any one of us could imagine in our worst nightmares at our southern border, thanks to the deliberate incompetence of the bumbling Biden administration. But as you could see from that testimony, Mel Gibson, behind the scenes, is on the forefront of these rescue operations, which may indeed involve the release of this documentary, that according to Newsweek. Now, you should know Gibson's publicist has denied these rumors. Obviously, he's very worried about the blowback that Mel would inevitably get from a town that doesn't appear to take too kindly to exposing some of their darker tendencies. But unfortunately for Hollywood, the genie may be out of the bottle on this one. I don't know if any of you saw the recent bombshell piece in the Wall Street Journal, a front page article exposing the social media site Instagram for being used as a platform for connecting and promoting a vast network of accounts dedicated to the commission and purchase of underage sex content. It was an investigation conducted by the Wall Street Journal, Stanford University, as well as the University of Massachusetts Amherst. And it found that Instagram's algorithms actively promote pedophilia-related content, connecting pedophiles and guiding them to content sellers through various recommended systems. The researchers discovered that Instagram allows people to search explicit hashtags related to child sexual abuse and links them to accounts advertising and selling child sex material. I mean, it was horrific stuff, to say the least, and indicates that something seems to be going on here. There does seem to be a kind of Harvey Weinstein-like rumbling going on here, where the dark secrets everyone knew about are about to come to the surface for all to see. So regardless of whether Mel Gibson goes through with this or not, it does appear that the cat is out of the bag, and some pretty seedy behavior among our ruling elite is about to come to much-deserved light.
All right, this is an amazing video to begin with, since it has to do with revealing secret. But, you know, talking about the secret of America, what really happening there, is not the focal point of the theme of this video today. What really I want to address is the invitation of Mel Gibson to Islam. I know many people have not been that vocal about inviting him. They might be fearing his position on religion. Everyone knows that he's somewhat a Catholic. Actually, when he was researching the life of Jesus Christ, he utilized many ancient Catholic books and stories of Jesus' crucifixion and, you know, other witnesses to arrive at that passion of the Christ. So I have watched a lot of videos, and I've not seen where, I mean, people invite him to become a Muslim mate. So, and I decided to do it myself today. So I invite Mel Gibson specifically to join the faith. And the reason is quite simple. Islam is a religion that is the most simplest, because God is a God of wisdom. He cannot associate us with things that are so difficult for us to obey. Yeah, his yoke and burden, they say, is very soft. So being a Muslim is as simple as, you know, doing any other thing, because being a Muslim is being in agreement with the statement that Allah is single, that God is one and deserves all glory and worship. Islam, in the sense of it, means that no other deity, no other person, first, second, or third, son, daughter, wife, mother, that deserve any sort of worship except Allah, except God. So with that understanding, apparently everyone was born a Muslim. If Mel Gibson, as the case may be, believe that we have a single God, automatically, sir, you've become a Muslim. And that's the reason why we're inviting you to study the Quran. We also invite you, of course, I know there are areas, there are, you know, Muslim majority areas in America. As a movie maker, can you make videos about, you know, historical Islamic things, like, you know, that will help you to study more or look into the faith in a more broader fashion? Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, ISIS are not representatives of Islam. Anyone that uses, you know, violence to spread the message is not a true representative of Islam. Islam is represented by the atmosphere of peace, the atmosphere of coexistence, the atmosphere of freedom, respect for God, respect for man. It is in the Quran that it was recorded that if you kill a single soul, that it is as if you've destroyed the entire humanity. Some of these are things that people don't reflect or don't say in public, and it's wrong. But Islam is a religion of peace. Just take a look at some of these Islamic countries today. They are completely peaceful. The only place you find, the deficiency of peace is apparently some of these areas that, the Western world have influence or have interest. For example, in Libya, in Iraq, and other countries. So if you go to those areas, you see that the Western nations invaded them and destroyed them, thus creating an environment where terrorism and fundamentalism grow. I've been a Muslim for over 7 months now, and I can tell you that Islam is the most peaceful religion. So I invite you, Sir Mel Gibson, to, explore Islam and, look at the Quran, read it for yourself. Don't allow anyone to tell you what is in it. Just read it yourself and appreciate the history and the theological depths of the Quran and Allah himself. Well, guys, thank you so much. Please share this video. Let's get it to Mel Gibson at this critical moment. Share it, like it, and if you've not previously, please subscribe now to enable us to reach more people. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.